Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a pretty ironic article to be looking at right now, considering I just made a video a couple days ago about Gearbox and how one of their employees was openly, racist against people who were just trying to talk about bad things regarding DEI and forced diversity, equity, inclusion in gaming and the current state of the gaming industry with Gamergate 2.0. And it's ironic that now apparently the mega corporation Embracer Group is now selling off Gearbox Entertainment to Take-Two for $460 million. Now, why is this important? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it begs the question. Embracer Group bought Gearbox for $1.3 billion and is now selling it for 1/3, if not worse than that, of that value.
God, I hate this planet.
Now, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, that is a massive discount, and you got to start asking questions why that is. Now, obviously, there could be a multitude of reasons, you know what I mean? Gearbox definitely did not do very well with the latest Borderlands games. You got Tiny Tina Wonderlands, you got the Borderlands games that came after Borderlands 1 and 2 that didn't do very well. Borderlands 1 and 2 were the top tier games of its time, okay? I loved Borderlands 1 and 2, and then after that, it started to just downhill from there. Nobody really cared too much, and then they started doing the woke nonsense. They started having employees coming out and attacking fans, and then before you know it, you end up with this situation where you have a company that you bought for $1.3 billion that is now only worth $460 million at best. So let's get into this article, guys, from PC Gamer. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. It says Swedish games behemoth Embracer Group bought Gearbox for $1.3 billion back in 2021. Again, massive difference. Just over 3 years later, Embracer Group is divesting Gearbox Entertainment to 2K Games and Rockstar parent company Take-Two Entertainment for $460 million. The acquisition is expected to finalize by the end of June. Embracer will retain one piece of the Gearbox pie, however, in the form of Gearbox Publishing San Francisco, which holds publishing rights to the Remnant series and Hyper Light Breaker. In addition to other notable unannounced game releases, the remaining arm of the business will be renamed. Embracer Group has been ruthlessly downsizing to stay afloat after years of seemingly monthly studio and publisher acquisitions. It sold off Saber Interactive last month to the tune of $247 million and laid off around 1,400 people in 2023. Last year, it shut Saints Row studio Volition and Square Enix Montreal, to name just a small handful of its big contractions. Rumors that Gearbox was started as far as September of last year. Now, we talked about these shutdowns that they experienced, okay? Volition was probably, I'm still trying to think if there was any that was close. I mean, Forspoken, was probably second place, but I think Volition absolutely was a massive get woke, go broke situation. I mean, it was hilarious, to be honest with you, because let's be real, they came out, they attacked fans. Okay, they came out and said they're going to be making a game for modern audiences. They came out and basically did everything against what their fans initially either liked or said that they wanted, and they thought confidently that the modern audience was going to carry them through and allow them to see victory. And what ended up happening? Massive failure, shut down studio, and nobody heard from them ever again. It was literally gone with the woke wind, and we all have to laugh at it. Not only that, Square Enix Montreal, I don't know if they're the ones that made Forspoken. I think they were. I just don't remember, to be honest with you. But Forspoken was the same exact thing. Massive investment, all about DEI, all about diversity, equity, inclusion, and then all of a sudden what happens? The game completely bombs, it tanks, they don't know, they don't understand what the real audience wants, or they do, and they purposefully ignore it because they take consultation from Sweet Baby Inc., and then that studio ends up shutting down as well. So yes, there is plenty of examples of get woke, go broke. There is also very slight examples of woke games actually massively succeeding, but that is few and far between, ladies and gentlemen. Ultimately, there is a reason why get woke, go broke is a sentiment, and it is a real one. And we've seen multiple studios shut down because of this. Now, Gearbox didn't really experience that to a massive scale just yet, because they had people that they just started attacking fans and all that stuff. They just started that, okay? Every once in a while, you'll get wind of it. it, but the conversation is really strong now about it. However, I find it very interesting that Gearbox is being sold off now amongst other studios as well, because let's be real, Embracer Group, which is also a company that is very questionable, is desperately trying to stay afloat. Like the article says, they've been trying to stay afloat for a while, and they're doing everything they possibly can to make it happen. They're firing people just like everybody else in the gaming industry right now. They're offloading studios. They're selling off IPs. They're doing everything they can to stay afloat. But you guys wouldn't have had to do this in the first place had you make video games that the fans actually wanted. If you started to not ignore what the fans are telling you time and time again, maybe you might actually be somewhat successful. Maybe you might break even. Maybe you might even make a good profit, but you wouldn't be selling off and getting broke right now like you currently are. And that could be for wokeness or without wokeness. All I'm saying is you are ignoring what the fans are telling you they want, and you are dying for it. It says Embrace's recent doom and gloom is in stark contrast to 2021 and 2022. Those were the days when the company was making huge acquisitions, ranging from Lord of the Rings through some of Square Enix's former tentpole Western studios, and receiving big investments from Saudi Arabia. But following the collapse of a $2 billion deal in 2023, which prompted an immediate and comprehensive restructuring of the business, most of the studios brought under the Embracer Group umbrella have suffered to one extent or another. Needless to say, a hell of a lot must have rested on that deal. Today's announcement marks the result of the final structured divestment process and is an important step in transforming Embracer into the future, with notably lower net debt and improved free cash flow. Embracer CEO Lars Wingfors said in a prepared statement, "Through the transaction, we lower business risk and improve profitability as we transition to become a leaner and more focused company." Gearbox founder and Randy Pitchford had his say as well. As a significant long-term Embracer Group shareholder, I believe in the strategy for the Embracer Group going forward, and I'm completely convinced that this transaction is the best possible scenario and an obvious net positive arrangement for Embracer Group, for Take-Two, and of course for Gearbox Entertainment. My primary interest is always Gearbox, especially our talent and our customers. I want to personally assure fans of our games that this arrangement will ensure that the experiences we have in development at Gearbox will be the best they possibly can be. Now, there's supposedly a new Borderlands game in development. I don't know if that game is going to be heavily affected by this acquisition. I would imagine it's still going to be made, especially since he's saying that they're going to continue their project. So I don't think that's going to be affected at all. But I do find it funny that if they continue to go down the same path that they have been going down with Borderlands, that made Embracer Group want to sell them off to begin with. Because let's be real, if Embracer Group had any kind of faith in Gearbox to make a decent game that was actually going to be successful and profitable, they would not have sold off Gearbox. They would have waited for the new Borderlands game, see how it performed, and if it failed, then they would have sold them off. But if they succeeded, then they would have kept them. They had no faith that this company was going to be able to do anything that was going to be reasonably profitable for Embracer Group to want to keep them. So they end up getting sold off to Take-Two, a company that can, I guess, afford the loss right now if something goes wrong. And I do think something will go wrong. I do think that Gearbox is going to triple down, and they're going to keep doing the same exact thing that has people hating them in the first place. And now that you have somebody on Twitter who works for Gearbox, not just him, there was another one as well. When you have people who work for your company actively attacking fans on Twitter, you already know that you probably shouldn't have bought the company, Take-Two. Let's be real. You probably should have just let them shut down. But hey, you bought the company. Let's see what you could do with the game and see if the next Borderlands game is anything good. But considering how people are acting right now and what the climate in the gaming industry is right now, I don't have a lot of faith in it. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.
Time to make it rain with your body parts.